There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. That agony, that silence, that hidden story, that's where Maya Angelou begins. She was mute for years, a victim of trauma, a teenage single mother. But she rose again and again, becoming one of the most beloved writers, speakers, and voices of the 20th century. Today on BookLia, we tell the story of Maya Angelou through the powerful lens of her 1969 memoir, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Let's begin. Published in 1969, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings is Maya Angelou's first and most famous memoir. It was groundbreaking. At a time when Black women's voices were marginalized, Angelou stepped forward with bold honesty, telling the story of her childhood marked by racism, abandonment, sexual violence, and silence. The book covers her life from age 3 to 17, moving between Stamps, Arkansas, and California, through a complex journey of identity, shame, poetry, and ultimately, self-worth. What made it historic wasn't just what it said, but how it said it, with rhythm, lyricism, and emotional clarity. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. This book gave voice to the voiceless, and changed American literature forever. Maya Angelou was born Marguerite Annie Johnson in 1928, in St. Louis, Missouri. When she was just 3, her parents divorced. She and her brother Bailey were sent alone by train to live with their grandmother in the racially segregated town of Stamps, Arkansas. It was there that she first felt the sting of racism. But her grandmother gave her strength, structure, dignity. When Maya was 8 years old, she was sexually abused by her mother's boyfriend. She told. He was jailed, and then murdered shortly after. Young Maya thought her voice had caused his death. So she stopped speaking, for nearly 5 years. During those silent years, Maya retreated into books and poetry. Shakespeare, Black poets, the Bible. A teacher named Mrs. Bertha Flowers gave her hope again, encouraging her to recite poetry aloud. Slowly, Maya began to speak again, and never stopped. By 17, she was a single mother, working as a waitress, dancer, and singer. She toured the world as a performer, lived in Ghana and Egypt, worked with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. And in 1969, she put her childhood on paper and changed her life. Maya Angelou became not just a writer, but a movement. She published 7 autobiographies, countless poems, essays, and plays. She recited at Bill Clinton's inauguration, won over 50 honorary degrees, mentored Oprah Winfrey, and inspired generations of artists, thinkers, and survivors. But her greatest gift? She transformed trauma into truth, and pain into power. Here are 5 life lessons from Maya Angelou, a tribute to the voice, vision, and victories of one of the greatest literary souls of our time. 1. Silence is a survival tool, but voice is freedom. For 5 years, Maya Angelou didn't speak a single word. After suffering a traumatic assault at just 8 years old, she blamed herself for the abuser's death. The trauma silenced her. But during that silence, something began to grow inside her: deep observation, rich imagination, and eventually, her voice. When she did speak again, it was with poetic fire. Her words would go on to shape generations, uplift the broken, and fight injustice with grace. There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. The lesson? Yes, silence can be survival. But freedom begins with voice. Your story, however painful, is power. Tell it. Because what hurts to say often heals when spoken. 2. Your past doesn't define you, your courage does. Maya Angelou was no stranger to darkness. She survived the cruelty of racism, the sting of abandonment, the trauma of sexual violence, and the depths of poverty. But through it all, she rose, again and again. She didn't bury her past. She transformed it into poetry, prose, and purpose. We may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated. Her life wasn't shaped by what happened to her, it was shaped by how she chose to rise from it. The message? You are not your pain. You are not your scars. You are the strength that carried you through. Your courage is your identity, not your history. 3. Words can heal, shape, and liberate. Maya Angelou was a master of words. But to her, writing wasn't about style, it was about soul. She understood that words weren't just tools for expression, they were instruments of healing, weapons of truth, and bridges to understanding. Her poetry wasn't just beautiful. It was necessary. It gave language to grief, rhythm to resistance, and comfort to countless hearts. Words mean more than what is set down on paper. It takes the human voice to infuse them with deeper meaning. The insight? Words are sacred. They can break hearts or mend them. They can sow hatred or plant hope. Use your words with care, with intention, and with love. Speak to heal, not to harm. 4. Dignity is your armor. Maya Angelou grew up in a time when being a Black woman in America meant enduring daily degradation. But she never let the world's cruelty strip her of her worth. She walked with poise. She dressed with pride. She spoke with elegance, not to conform, but to honor her self-worth. Her dignity was not performative, it was protective. It was revolutionary. I refuse to allow any man-made differences to separate me from any other human beings. The takeaway? Dignity is not about status or clothes, it's about knowing who you are when the world tries to tell you otherwise. It's about walking tall, even when you're carrying pain. In a world that wants to label you, redefine yourself with grace. 5. Live a life of purpose and poetry. Maya Angelou didn't just live. She thrived. She danced, sang, wrote, acted, and most of all taught. Through every phase of her life, she turned pain into purpose and ordinary moments into art. She believed that a life well lived wasn't about survival, it was about expression, emotion, contribution. My mission in life is not merely to survive but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style. The final lesson? Don't just get through life. Embody it. Laugh loud. Love deep. Speak boldly. Live with so much fire that your life becomes its own poem, one others will read for generations. Maya Angelou passed away in 2014, at age 86. But her words never died. They live in classrooms, in courtrooms, in hearts. They rise with every young girl who refuses to be silenced, with every reader who finds healing in her lines. Maya was more than a writer. She was proof that the caged bird doesn't just sing, it soars. I personally love Maya Angelou's poems like They Went Home, Chicken Lickin', Seven Women's Blessed Assurance, and Where We Belong, a duet. And from that last one, there's a line that always stays with me. Then you rose into my life like a promised sunrise, brightening my days with the light in your eyes. I've never been so strong. Now I'm where I belong. Her words don't just speak, they heal. They remind us where we come from, and who we're meant to be. So what about you? What part of Maya Angelou's story touched you the most? And what's your favorite Maya Angelou poem? Tell us in the comments below, we would love to hear from you and If this video inspired you, please give it a like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss our weekly book drops. This is BookLia. One book, big insights.